Ooh,
Good afternoon from relatively sunny January. We are still January, aren't we? It's just about 29th January in Aylesbury, and we're both in Aylesbury,
oh, indeed.
Buckinghamshire, today, which is lovely. My almost neighbour, Pete Williams. We're here to talk about his fantastic, and I can say that because I was his editor, fantastic fantasy book, which he will tell us all about. But we're going to go, as we always do, we're going to go right back to the beginning. I don't know how far yet because he's going to tell me. The first thing you wrote, if you can remember the whether it's school or before or after, first kind of thing you wrote.
Around about sort of 18, maybe a little bit earlier, but sort of 18 into my early 20s, I did write a fair bit of poetry, um,
Okay.
in the typically angst young man kind of
Poetry's
way.
very good for that, actually, getting your innermost
Absolutely,
feelings. Yes.
absolutely. So that was my earliest sort of writing, and I did briefly join a writers group at the Queen's Park Centre in Aylesbury. That would have been back in the early
Uh,
80s.
we went there for the
Uh,
first time last was to see Karen Banfield's murder mystery. I think
right.
murder mystery. I don't think it was a murder mystery. Sorry, Karen, if you're watching this. She will probably watch this because she's very supportive. Yes, anyway, very good play. Very good.
Right,
Very good.
right.
Yes.
Um, and then I don't know. I suppose just life and family and time just kind of got in the way of that. And so work-wise, we write a fair bit in response to bids and big government bids and so on. Invariably want 5,000 word responses to sort of 50 questions kind of thing. But that's a very different process. Writing a 5,000 word
Not exactly creative.
paragraph.
Not exactly creative. Or creative
It's
in a different
in
manner,
a very
perhaps.
different way. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so the sort of experience of writing wasn't something that I had a lot of experience with, I have to say. It was very much a sort of um, try it and see.
Hmm.
Um, and I think actually one experience I had, and I don't know if this is something that other authors will um, relate to, but I made them. Maybe it's a mistake, maybe it was the right thing to do, but I got about four chapters in, having started writing, and was just beginning to think, "Oh, this isn't as bad as I thought it would be." And then I paused and I went back to the beginning, and I think that,
So
and that was a kind of moment of, oh
some
dear
do,
me,"
some don't. Yeah, I
Yeah.
recommend not doing so. But even so,
No.
because I don't write every day, and we'll talk about that in
Mm.
a minute. I don't write every day, so I do have to go back. In fact, it's been so long. I wrote about half a day in Australia, but then the beach we were in cabins, went for a family
Yes.
wedding, and the beach was, but it was their winter, so it was cloudy, and then the sun came out. So I was sitting there and looked up, and the sun was out, laptop down, out on the beach until it got cold, and then came back in again a bit more. So I didn't write very much. And before that was last year, so no, year before last now. And so yeah, I write very, so I do have to go back through the whole thing. But some do. Some people want to get a feel, maybe a chapter before, but get a feel as to, especially if you're a pantser and you haven't plotted, so you can't remember exactly where you were.
Right.
You do have to go back a bit. But
Yeah. Oh,
aren't we full of self doubt anyway
well,
in our
absolutely.
own
I
right?
mean, I think what was interesting was the story was there.
Mm,
The plot was being laid down. It was just the
yeah.
quality of writing was
Right.
so poor. It was, I think if 19-year-old me had written it, I would have been reasonably happy. But
Oh,
as 59-year-old me writing it
okay.
was an element of, oh dear.
Well, I have some. I don't know whether this helps because you've published it now, and I've been through it, and it was really good. And I pull it apart, but I say when there's promise, and it was a fabulous book. It is a fabulous book.
Yeah.
But a lot of writers say that Dan Brown, Da Vinci Code, and J.K. Rowling, who needs no introduction, although somebody did put them in brackets online the other day, Harry Potter, as if we don't know who J.K. Rowling
In
is,
case.
aren't very good writers, but they tell a good story. And
Yeah.
I say, I think I probably would have told you this before, that I edit for the 100th reader. So 99 readers just want a really good story. the one reader out of 100 wants good story and good writing.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Well, I think there's a. I was chatting to a friend of mine who was saying, I think it was um, oh, one of the really, really famous authors back in the day, would
Mm.
sort of produce 2 pages of quality work per day as a professional writer. That was his aim.
Right.
Um, and I was kind of reading that and thinking, blimey, I produce more than that. But what I produce, first pass, is
Right.
not great. It's
Right.
just getting that story down, getting the sort of
Isn't that
words
what
on
you
the
want? Just to
page,
get it out of your head and
get
onto.
it out of my head, get it on the
Yeah.
page, and then cycle back to it over and over again, tidying it up bit by
Yeah.
bit, you know. And I don't think a paragraph went unedited by myself, let alone having then got into the editing process and kind of,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, I think you need to just rework some of
Yeah.
these, some of these
Well,
sentences.
I think it's Nora Roberts, aka JD Robb, who I think she writes Nora Roberts's romance or women's fiction for sure,
Right.
and JD Robb is the sort of darker crime stuff. And she's quoted saying, as a lot of people have said long before her, but it's a simple phrase that she's remembered for, is that you can't edit a blank page. So we like to get some, and I think more of us are. I've interviewed over 700, I think it's 700 authors on my blog over the years. I don't do them anymore, but over the years. And one of the questions is, are you a plotter or a pantser? And I'd say 95% of the people, including Anne Cleves, are pantsers. So they get an idea. But if you're Anne Cleves and you've already got Vera, you've got a structure there already. It's a bit like
Mm.
building writing a Mills and Boon. You've got to have this formula set up already. And if it's a series, you've already got your series of characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
No, I would say I'm very much a plotter.
yeah. So
I
how long?
know I know what the story's going to be. I
Okay,
just don't necessarily know
the details.
exactly how it will turn out until it sort of gets
Yeah,
onto the page.
yeah.
Exactly what will happen in any given scene can
No.
vary.
So
And, and,
how long was
and
your outline roughly?
I didn't really have an outline. It was all in my head.
Oh, okay.
It was, but
Right,
in the sense that I knew, as the chapters went on, this will happen, then this,
right.
then this is the sequence.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, but as I say, sometimes even starting writing that chapter, even as you write the words, the actual,
yeah.
perhaps what I plotted in my head begins to change, and
Yeah, and because your brain then thinks, well, yes, that was a good idea, but how about we do this? Or this is
exactly,
far better. Well, that was a load
yeah,
of rubbish, and this is much
yeah,
better. I was saying to Janet yesterday in her spotlight that I've sort of become a plantser. So
okay,
I plot a little bit, but
right,
I still like you. I've got an idea of what I want, and I think probably as time goes on, because I have technically only published. I wouldn't say written. I've written a lot more than I've published. One, two, six, because there are six, five in the Henry, so that's six, seven, eight, nine, 10 books. Um, and which sounds a lot, but I'm still when I'm writing and I think a bit is particularly rubbish, I'll carry on writing it, but then I'll use the strike through and score it
okay,
out. So then when
right,
I go back to it, I go, oh yeah, that's if it's something that shows promise but it's nothing to do with this, then I'll copy and paste, cut it and paste it into something else. Because yeah, I think it's really sad when you go to Facebook in the morning and somebody says, "Oh, I wrote 7,000 words yesterday. I thought they were brilliant. They've got nothing to do with this book. I've decided, so I've deleted them."
no, I wouldn't be doing that. No, I tend to highlight in red. That tends to be
Oh, do
my.
you?
I kind of highlight whole blocks in red as a kind
Yeah,
of this
yeah,
needs revision, or I'll
right.
write a sort of red block ahead of it, and
Yeah,
this all needs rewriting, or
right.
you know. But I think that point about you can't edit a blank page is a really really
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
really
Because we
sensible
worry, we
philosophy.
worry too much about the blank
Yeah,
page. I have more ideas than
Sandy.
I can cope with, really.
I can't think of her surname. The lady who presents QI, Sandy.
A Toxfig.
Toxvic, that's
Yeah,
she was
yeah.
on Between the Covers. I don't know if
Okay.
you've ever seen that. It's a sort of book club. Um,
I've
Sarah
heard of
Cox.
it for sure. I'm going to write it down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a classic book club. They're celebrities given a couple of
Okay.
books to read, to talk about, and then bring in a book that you love.
Yeah.
But Sandy told this story that her father said, and I'm going to terribly misquote it, I'm sure, but it was
Right.
sort of along the lines of publishing a book is a bit like cooking a fish. That
Okay.
you've got to cook the fish, but then you've got to serve it perfectly
Right.
for for your dinner guests.
Yeah.
And I kind of watched that, having had that experience of writing those first few chapters and going, oh my God, maybe I'm
Oh,
not cut out for this.
yeah.
And actually, I thought, I haven't even caught this damn fish yet, let alone cooked it and prepared it for my dinner guests. So
Yeah.
that was a real kind of reset almost. That
Yeah.
and coming back to that point, if you haven't written it, you don't know it's going to be bad, right?
No.
So,
No,
you know,
exactly. And we are our worst critic. I mean,
yes,
equally, you don't want somebody who's going to say, "Oh, this is fantastic," and then
when it
you
is,
publish it, and
yeah,
50 people um on Amazon will go, actually, no, it's a load of rubbish.
terrible
I
one star,
call
one star.
this one my Marmite book because when it was traditionally published,
Right.
it went on NetGalley and had reviews, so I gathered reviews quite quickly. And I generally don't read my reviews. I get too not depressed, but I just, yes. Anyway, I don't. But I did for that one because I thought I would. And there was I don't know if I had any more than one star. I'm sure it would have done. But I had the first red 1 star. It was 11 o'clock at night, and I was just about to log off and go to bed. And it was, I don't normally leave reviews for books, but this one was so bad I felt I had to. And that was, I think, 2018. And by the end of the year, one of the bloggers, because they all go on blog tours, and that's what we're doing, Henry,
Mm.
Donna Morfitt's helping with sending that out to bloggers. And it was one of the bloggers, and you know how prolific bloggers are with their reading. Even if it's one book a week, that's 52 books a year.
Yeah.
And it was her favourite book of the year. So, one extreme to the other.
There's got to be that case, isn't there, that if we all like the same thing, it would be a very, very dull world.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I used to go to Starbucks in Northampton with some of my students, and on a Tuesday night, just to sit and have coffee and write. So we'd get there and we'd say what we were working on, and most of us were working on novels, so we'd be the next chapter of chapter 16 or whatever of the novel.
mm.
And one chap there, who was the only traditionally published of all of us, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to write some bad poetry." So we said, "Do you mean literally bad poetry?" He said, "Yeah." I probably shouldn't say this only, but I've said it before in other interviews, so hey. And he said, "Yeah, the publisher he was with, their top selling author, poet, wrote poetry that America adored, and this chap thought was terrible, and so he thought he'd have a go at it."
God. And did it
But
publish?
there is an audience for everything.
Yeah.
You go on Amazon and you see these things and think, who buys that? And they've got
Yeah.
500 reviews, or 50 Shades of Grey. Do I need to see any more?
No, you don't.
So
There you
I
go.
understand you're now working 4 days a week instead of 5. Is this so you can have an extra day to
It's yeah,
write?
that's definitely part of it.
Yeah.
My normal writing routine is very much a hobby. So, I work during the day. I find the sort of process of then sitting down with my tablet and just pushing out a couple of pages, as we've just said,
Okay.
or maybe more,
Yeah.
um, is the ideal way of working. But I'd like to kind of move that into give that a bit more of a sort of, no, actually, I'm going to have a day where I can, and even if it's not writing, it's editing,
Yes. Something to do with
it's
you.
all the other bits that need
Yes.
to go with it.
Exactly.
So.
Well, I decided the tail end of last year that I would do the same, and you are a victim of this, unfortunately. But I decided that I had to cut down on editing because I was, especially heading towards Christmas, because everybody wants to get their book out around Christmas, that I would only take contemporary, so 1960s, which 1975 is now historical, but 1960s crime and women's fiction, because that's what I write and that's my
That's
world.
what you, yeah.
Just edit those, and I've got 3 very good friends, one of whom I've either passed you on to, or
You
glad
did
you passed
indeed.
you on to,
Yeah.
my editor Graham, who writes sci-fi fantasy and ghost writes as well. And with the idea that I would spend Mondays, at least Mondays, writing, and that has been a plan for quite a while, to spend Monday writing, but at least have more gaps in between the books
Yeah.
that I do edit. And then within a week I thought, actually, let's set up a book festival. So that's been my focus for the last, well, since
And
November.
that could easily take up a handful of Mondays, I would suggest.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. But
yeah,
it's
yeah,
an
yeah.
hour. In theory, it's an hour every Monday because the videos upload really quickly to YouTube.
Right.
So yeah. So,
Excellent.
but there we go. I live and breathe writing, and this is writing, so it's absolutely fine. So you finished your book. Is your wife is your beta reader, is she, or alpha reader? Has it
She's
before anybody else?
she is one of them. Actually, she much prefers to read the printed word. She doesn't
Okay.
like, she's not a Kindle reader or a
No.
tablet reader. So,
Yeah.
and obviously printing the book on a home printer is just a non-starter. So she was actually the alpha reader for the first. She kind of managed to get through about half the book, and then
Okay.
I just can't do this. Um,
Is it her
my
genre anyway? Does she?
Not especially,
Okay.
um, but she's kind of
I feel
familiar
that's
with it.
being quite polite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, she no, she reads a very eclectic mix actually, but
Right.
not. And some of it would probably be on the edges of fantasy, but not
Okay.
the kind of high fantasy
Yeah.
that I've written.
Yeah.
Now, my one of my brothers was one of my alpha readers, and he did a very good job actually of being, quite happy to sort of go, I don't understand this.
Okay.
I don't understand the motive here.
Yeah.
I'm picking up quite a lot of typos and mistakes.
Yeah.
And then there's a lady I know vaguely, which was quite good that
Okay.
she's not a personal friend. She's not
Yes. She
a
won't feel
relation.
obliged to say, "Oh, I like this."
Yeah, absolutely. And she was the other sort of alpha reader.
Okay.
So, and the first wanted to go, it's a very strong female lead, isn't
I
it?
love
So,
that. The worst, it drives me nuts when I see a film, and I did say this, and I did sort of apologize for this afterwards, saying that American films, and this is obviously being very generalistic, that American films love their drama. I think it was Die Hard 5, where Bruce Willis was there with his son, and they were driving a tank down a road, and there were, I think, cars on the right hand side and then cars on the left hand side at angles, 45-degree angles.
right.
And of course the tank was it didn't actually look too wide, but it was, all these cars were going down and exploding and all this, and when it really didn't need to. But there we go. Whereas English, a lot of it, especially BBC, tend to be very clever and
Yes.
very much about the character rather than less plot driven as
Right.
such.
Yeah, I think that is the downfall of Hollywood, frankly, at the moment, as it does seem hell bent on endless sequels. We've got a story, the story works, and we've
Yeah,
got loads of CGI. So quids in,
exactly.
and it's just
Exactly. Yes. But it's an escape. It's one of the four E's, and that was the last one I kept forgetting. That when we're reading a book, we like to be educated. We like to learn something,
yeah.
fiction or otherwise. We like to learn something. Have some kind of emotion, certainly at the end, if
Hmm.
not peaks and troughs all the way through, to be entertained,
Hmm.
and then have some kind of escape.
Yeah,
Seeing Bruce Willis, and which is never a travesty. Um, Bruce Willis and his very attractive son in the tank going. It's entertaining. It's
it is. It is.
escapism. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely,
Exactly.
absolutely.
So you've finished your book. You've had your beta readers read it. You've had read it. Have you got a copy of your? I should have asked you this before we recorded. Copy of your book. Fantastic.
We've had trouble with
How
this
did you?
getting it actually to
How did you
show on the
get your? Yeah,
screen,
I think
haven't
if you hold it right in front of you, down a bit. That's it. Yeah,
you see it there? That better?
something like
Yeah,
that.
there we
Yeah,
go.
yeah. You were saying actually is that the cover, you were disappointed that it comes out so dark. Were you going to get
Yeah, I
it
mean,
done?
the final guy, it's not showing up well there, to be
Yeah.
honest, but the that is a
Is that the
challenge that I
hardback?
had kind of,
Is
yes,
that
that's the
hardback?
hardback version. Yeah, that's the
Oh, how
hardback version.
exciting!
Yeah, so I think that's a lesson learned. So I
Mm.
found a website called Fiverr,
Oh yes.
and
Yeah.
that's where I found B, French lady called B, um, who had some excellent work already done previously. So
Right.
she kind of stood out really as kind of
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking for. Um, and the cover art looks great until Amazon get hold of it, and then
Sadly.
just the quality of the
Yeah.
printing is not
We were
great.
we were talking about this in the festival, weren't we, on
We were,
Saturday?
yes, yeah,
At
yeah. I was
Sunday.
shocked to hear a few other rumours too of sort of other
Yes.
things
Yeah, they
that
are
plague it.
hit and miss. I mean, I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Alan who said that he received a batch. Oh, Sean actually, maybe.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it was
one
Sean.
of
Yeah,
those.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he received a batch, and some of them were darker than others. And I had
In one
one of
batch.
my,
Makes no
yeah,
sense.
in one of my um in one of my diaries. So I ended up using it, was about an inch shorter. They chopped the top off. But you can they're very good at if they're badly scuffed or creased or anything, they'll
But they
you
take
can
them
use them.
straight back. Okay,
Well, they
that's
just take the money off. They'll give you a refund, a
okay.
portable refund. If you just send them
Right,
photographs and give them
right.
a portable
Excellent,
refund.
excellent. That is good news. So yeah, I mean the cover I think looks better on the ebook, and but it's much the same on the paperback to be honest. And the other thing I did wrong was the first time round I had it in matte,
Ah, yes.
and that just darkens it even further.
And
So
it scuffs so quickly. I
does it?
find
Was
that
that the
all
other
mine are
problem?
gloss.
Right.
I think I had a proof through as matte, or I'd seen somebody else's in matte, and it scuffs really easily. So
Right.
I always go for glossy, and I go for the smaller size, the
Yeah.
5 by 8 rather than
Yeah.
6 by 9.
Yeah. And
It,
I took the print. I went back to the artist after the first proofs arrived, said, we're going to need to lighten it. And she kind of went, yeah,
yeah,
I know the problem. So, she kind of upped the contrast.
yeah.
Um, and to avoid ordering oh no, I think I ordered a second set of proofs just to then check that.
Mm.
But I thought I'd actually take it down to my local print shop
Oh yes,
Just on
yes,
Parton Road here.
yeah. Somebody said about that to have it
Um,
printed locally.
well, yeah, the prices. I mean,
Uh,
he did look at the price Amazon were doing and go, "Oh, I can't even get close to that." But what I was going to say was, it didn't matter what he did, he couldn't get the printers to print that badly.
oh
So
really?
he said, I've run it
Yeah.
through, I've switched things off, and I kind of, produced this badly. Nope, it was still came
Wow.
out better quality. So
Yes.
he did look at it and just, I don't know how they've done it. I don't
I
know
think
how they've managed to
probably
get it.
worth it for the hardback if you can sell hardbacks locally.
Yeah,
I don't
possibly.
know. It's just because I sell mine, and I've been invited to go to do a 2 hour World Book Day event in by the lovely Debs in Bristol, 5th of March, World Book Day, and it's 2 hours. And I'd have to pay for the table. And I did some, again, we were talking about this on Sunday, where you sit for hours and hope that someone's going to come along. I mean, that would be different because I get the feeling it's a bit like a sort of NEC event in 2 hours where there's going to be so many people. But I said to her, we've got something. It's Thursday, so we've got something on. I've got there's a friend's memorial, my uncle's friend's memorial on the Monday, and then we're out on the Saturday night. So if we could go away for a week or something, but there's a lot going on. And I said I'd have to sell 21 books to break even because I sell them, and I could put the price up, but I want to sell them. So I sell them for £6 each or two for £10, which is a bargain.
Yeah.
And I know really that's too cheap, but even so, I've gone to events and sold 2 or 3 books. I've had them at £8 each, two for 15, and sold 3 books.
Right.
And so book fairs are different, but it was £52 for a table, which is a lot
Wow.
of money before you
It is a
start
lot of
doing
money.
anything else.
It is a lot of money. Yeah, it
Yeah,
is. It is.
yeah.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
it's a shame, you know. Another
yeah,
time, then I don't mind. I don't mind losing money to a point if it's just down the road,
yeah,
but it's a long
yeah,
way to
but
go.
Oh,
if you've
Bristol's,
got
yeah,
things
that's a
to
fair old journey.
file.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I said I would really like to another time. But
Mm.
the business brain, and we do have to have business brains, don't we, as self-published. I said I've stopped doing fairs where I have to buy a table. I do WIs and U3A talks, and so they pay for me to go there. And then
Right.
I know I'm at a target audience, because a craft fair, people are there to buy crafty things, these wax melts and
Yeah,
candles,
yeah, 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 yeah.
wooden
Not necessarily
bird
books.
things, and yeah, not
Yeah,
necessarily books.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Anyway, how do we get? Oh, marketing. Yes,
Oh,
this
marketing.
leads us nicely into marketing. How are you marketing your book, Pete?
Not well, I'm afraid. It's. I kind of wanted to pause a little bit until I had some reviews
Right.
on the site on Amazon. I
Yeah.
hadn't actually realized that Amazon had a set of restrictions that were not just you've got to have bought the book, but have
Right.
bought the book and spent £40 with us in the last 12 months.
Okay. Well, that's not a problem for me. I'm about every.
No, well, it's not a problem
Yeah.
for some people, but my brother, for instance, who loved the
Yeah.
book,
Yeah.
he doesn't use Amazon at all. He
No.
made the exception to buy the book, but then
Yeah.
went on and, oh, I can't leave a review. And if you haven't bought the book, but you do have an Amazon account and were given it, so there's
Yeah.
the people who were acknowledged at the end of the book, I gave a copy to.
Yeah.
One of them went on, she's written a review,
Yeah.
and it now says there are two reviews, but you
Right.
can't see, you can only see the verified
Verified
purchase one.
purchases.
But
Yeah.
hers, you can't actually see what she said or the score she's
No.
given it. So,
Because it's said that Amazon takes notice when you have 50. But I would recommend getting somebody to do a blog tour. So they would charge you anywhere between 60 and £100, depending on
right.
how many bloggers. I mean, you can contact them yourself, but then it's still spending time finding them and sending the book. And if you use a tourer, they would know these people and probably get higher up the queue. And and then you have like a real life book tour, but instead of going from bookshop to bookshop to bookshop, you go from blog, book reader, reviewer,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and then so within a week, say, you might have anywhere between, say, 3 bloggers for 5 days, or 7 days, or 8 bloggers for 7 days. It depends. The more you have, the more it will cost, but it shouldn't be any more than 100. But the great thing about that is, especially if you've got your Fiverr lady who can mock up some social media posters,
Yeah.
and then you get all the quotes. So their review goes on, and they will put it on Amazon as well. They'll put them on their website, which is dedicated to book reviews.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
are a respected outlet,
Yeah.
and then you can pick out quotes. So and so said,
Oh,
he's my
that's
new
good.
favorite author, that kind of thing.
So
So
that
it's a very inexpensive, genuine way. So if you just go on Facebook or Instagram or look for book reviewers or book tours, and there are the likes.
Tour
Yes,
tours.
yes, like music,
Yeah, okay.
like music tours, Rolling
Yeah,
Stone.
yeah, okay. I
Um,
didn't. I must admit,
yeah,
I've kind of searched for bloggers,
right.
um, and was surprised how many were. Yes, I'll give you a review, but we charge for it, and
Yeah,
yada yada.
yeah. You don't pay. You only pay the tour operator. I'm just going to go on Instagram while we're on here, and I'm going to search for book tour, because you'll see book tour. So for instance, this is just the random one. Oh, this is actual in person. Right, let's go blog tour. A book. Okay, blog tour. And there'll be, of course, people who are on a book tour. So this is Holly Hepburn, and she's the Baker Street Mystery, The Locked Room, her novel. And somebody, maybe her or somebody else, has done a poster. So on the 18th of January, she was at Karen Kiss Reading, Book Shine and Read Bows, Review Thick and Thin, Book Jottings, and MJ Porter Author.blog. So on one day, she had 5 people review her book. So you could
Wow.
either get, if you want to do it yourself, you could either just, I've just gone on Instagram, put book blog tour, and then you see all these people who've posted their tour posters. And then you can, that lists all the bloggers. So you could contact them all yourself. But invariably the at or the hash symbol at the end. So this is Boldwood. So Boldwood have organised, so they're a big publisher, have organised this blog tour for her. So their marketing department. But there'll be other Zoo. Well, I use Donna Morfitt. Donna, normal spelling, Morfett. She hosted the crime panel on Sunday.
Okay.
And then Rachel at Rachel's with an S, randomresources.com. She does 7-day blog tours. So she's another one. Availability from March 26 onwards.
I might reach out to Donna as she was on the.
Yeah, do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And her email should be on the correspondence we had, shouldn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Or you just search for her online. She's everywhere.
Okay.
Especially if it's crime, but she does other genres as well.
Yeah.
So
Other than that, marketing, I
yes.
tried to do a bit of Instagram. I mean,
Yeah.
social media is not my bag at all. It has to be
No,
said. I've never.
it's hard work because the trouble is everybody's got books.
Of
So
course,
it's not.
of course.
This is the reason why I started these author spotlights, because it's getting to know that actually you're a nice person. You have a book and it sounds really good, and I'll give
Yeah.
it a go, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Rather
yeah.
than
No,
you
absolutely.
saying I have a good book, because isn't it always better? Somebody's just got, your neighbour's got a new car and you look at it and you think, oh, that looks nice, and give
That's
it a
nice.
test
Yeah.
drive, and somebody else has said that's really good.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. Fully agree.
Yeah. So what do you do when you're not involved in this world?
So I work. My work is I'm employed by a large software company, big American software company. Work in the public sector. So that's my full-time job. When I'm not doing that or writing, I'm kind of an amateur cook, and I use the word
Okay.
cook rather than chef, very
Right.
definitely.
Yeah.
I have very little fear when it comes to cooking. I'm quite happy
Okay.
to sort of try almost anything, any style,
Yeah.
any particular sort of region.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you have a favourite? Something that springs to mind?
I get it varies according to the mood, but
Okay.
I very much like Persian
Wow.
food, but the Southeast Asian, so Vietnam, Thailand, some of and Cambodia, those kind of areas.
Yeah.
But that said, I think you'd be hard pushed to beat a good roast chicken, roast potatoes. The
Nice.
classic English Sunday dinner is
Yeah.
a thing of beauty when
It is.
it's done
It
well.
is absolutely. Yes, they're really
So,
popular in the pubs around where you have to book in, at least a week in advance to get in a local pub.
right, it's Sunday dinner's become a bit of a sort of, it's the family tend to come for
Nice.
dinner
Yeah.
to the
Nice.
house. So, it's become not every Sunday. It's not a sort of, Sunday, where are you kind of thing. But,
Yeah.
generally speaking, and it's nice that they want to come, to be fair,
Do I understand right that your wife is French? I don't.
No,
If not, I don't know whether. Okay, I don't know whether I got
no,
that
no,
right.
no. So that's
Okay,
my other
I
wife,
was going
no,
to say, your other wife? Yeah. Does she? Is she a cook? Does she?
She's a very, very good cook. I think it was some point when the kids were young, and she was cooking all the time, because by the time I got home from work, the kids would already
Yeah.
have to be fed.
Yeah.
And I think she reached a point with that where it was, I'm not doing this anymore. I am done with this. I'm
Yeah.
sick to
You
death
have
of
to
cooking
fend for
food that just
yourself,
gets thrown back at me.
right?
So she went on. She had a bit of a break from it, which is when I kind of took over.
Okay.
But what I really found it very relaxing. I find it's one of those things that I can just drop the whole nonsense at work or whatever and just cook.
Yes.
And actually that's.
Again, it's a different creative, isn't it?
It
You're
is, it
creating
is, and I
something.
find that much the same with writing now. That
Yeah.
it's kind of my happy space. I'm very happy sitting there just kind of doing that. So,
Yeah. No. Well, Tim
um,
does all the cooking. I'd be a
is
ready
it?
meal. I'd be a ready meal or jam and Philadelphia roll kind of girl. I used to cook better flapjacks than my mum did. She was very jealous of my flapjacks. But it's just time. I have an electronic friend here, and it's female voice. She tells 5:15, charge the mouse. So then I plug in my mouse and go down. That's my 5:15 is my
Eat.
going
Right.
downstairs, and they usually dishes up around 6.
Right.
And he learned very quickly that when I go in the kitchen and say, "Do you need a hand with anything?" He'll go, "No, you're fine." And I go, "Right answer." And but he loves it. He's very experimental. Actually,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
get tie, green tie, red tie, all sorts of
Absolutely.
multicolored ties.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loves it. So this is the first in a trilogy.
No,
Is
it'll be a duology. Is that the right term?
Oh, just
Duology?
2.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
it'll be
that's
2
for
books.
definite. That's for definite.
Yes, but it's
They
2
do
books
reach a
in
certain
the
point, don't they, in the end of the first book?
yes, yeah, and they're distinctly halfway through their journey. So
Yeah,
the second book is the second half of their journey, but
right.
it's not the end of the Dreams of Elotvine series. So the thought process at the moment, this book is set in the sort of second era of the world.
Hmm.
Um, it's a time of relative peace and prosperity, and but I shall probably move back in time to the end of the first era, which is the Age of Tears, the Chris Wars. That'll probably be where the next set of books come from, and then perhaps jumping into the third era again, where everything starts to go pear shaped again, and
We
add
always like
you know
things. We like things going pear shaped. So books
it.
1 and 2 will be the Farr Patrol, and then
That's it. Yeah, the Tales of the Farr Patrol.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
the other ones will be different with different characters. Or do you think you might bring in? Because
No, there'll be different characters because there'll be 500 years
oh yeah, that's true.
uh,
That's very true.
earlier. So no, it'll be
That's a
very different
shame because
characters.
it's a shame because I'd miss those characters in different books.
A
But
couple of people, yeah, but the
yeah,
lady I was talking about who did the alpha reading,
mm,
when I kind of mentioned that to her, she kind of went, "Really? I think you want to do
yeah,
that. You know, I think you've kind
who
of formed the
knows?
characters." But at the end of their journey, they cease to be part of the Farr Patrol. That
Right.
they are signed on for
Okay, not
that
listening.
journey
Not listening.
that takes them
Yeah.
through.
However, um, there you could do spin-offs as reader magnets. So when you set up a newsletter for your website and have all these people signing up to your newsletter, when they sign up to the newsletter, then you would write a short story with some connection to the one or both books, and that could be your
Stories.
freebie reader magnet,
Yeah,
either before, during, or after writing book 2.
no, I like that. Reader magnet. That's a good
Yes.
term.
So it could be a short story. It
Yes.
doesn't have to be very long, 3
No. I mean,
pages.
there are definite sort of views as to what happens afterwards, right?
Right.
Where do they go? What do they do? And I'm kind
Yeah.
of finishing probably the second book
Yeah.
with some of that kind of hint of where people go off
Right.
and what they have to
Yeah.
do. But no, I like that. Yeah, I think there were definitely some short stories that could be told. Of
And equally, I mean, you've just said it. You could do a collection of short stories based, even maybe one from each of the characters, because there's such
indeed.
strong characters, all of them.
Thank you.
And some of them don't fare well during the book, do they?
No,
They are
no,
put through a lot of tests.
indeed, and more to
Yes,
come. More to come in the
yes.
second book. Very, very definitely.
Bless
So,
them.
yes.
Bless them. I'm sad. I'm
I
sorry.
think the
I'm
only other
sorry.
thing.
I'm sad now. I won't be editing it, but Graham's your man.
Oh, I don't
He
think it was
knows.
Graham you sent me. I thought it was a
He,
lady you sent me.
oh,
Oh,
it might have been Caroline, but oh yeah,
Caroline.
was
It
it?
was Caroline.
Okay, okay,
Yes. Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Yeah.
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 Well, her husband writes sci-fi fantasy, so I think I should know,
Okay.
shouldn't I? I've known them for long enough. Yes. Anyway, see how you get on. Otherwise,
I'm sure it'll be fine.
yeah, I can.
I'm sure it'll be fine. It was a very good experience. It's an interesting experience editing,
Yes.
going through the editorial process, I should
Yeah.
say, for the first time. But I couldn't have had a better editor, so
Oh,
thank you
bless
for
you,
that. It
thank you.
was,
Well, I like to say I'm firm but fair, and I will go through it as a reader as well. So you'll see
hmm,
the love this,
yes,
funny,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that kind
yeah.
of thing.
No,
Because we
and
need,
that's appreciated
yeah, we
actually.
need genuine hand
Yeah,
holding, but equally, yeah, this works, but it would be better if. So,
exactly, exactly. Yeah, and
so how?
as you say, we are our own worst critics for
Oh,
starters,
absolutely.
and it's very hard to look at it's funny that sometimes I could look at a page and think, this is not right. This
Yeah,
doesn't read well. And I know it doesn't
well,
read
that's
well,
good.
but I
That's
can't
good.
tell what's wrong with it.
Okay,
So,
that's
and
not.
that's where I think you sometimes need
It's really
somebody
not
just to
so good.
go, yeah,
Yeah,
just move that sentence around, or just do this. It's
yeah,
actually as simple as that in some
exactly.
cases.
And
So,
a lot of it's variation, because something very simple, very low level is if you've got he did this, she did that. There's
yeah,
so many pronouns. Just mix it up a little bit, just freshen it up
yeah,
a bit, and short
yeah,
long
yeah. There you go.
sentences. And
Yes, indeed, indeed. Yeah,
so, how
yeah.
far are you through book? Are you at book two? Are you
Um,
halfway through?
I'm at about 55,000
Wow,
words. So it's
halfway.
a good halfway.
Yeah.
Um, as I say, the plot line is done,
Okay.
but this book's come about in a subtly different way because
Right.
there were sections that came out of the first book
Yeah.
that were originally going to be in the first book
Yeah.
that just slowed the pace down, just
Right.
dragged, just kind of now it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Coming back to your point, don't delete it.
Yeah.
Just
No,
cut and paste
exactly.
it, put it in the next, So
Yeah.
I had kind of almost chapters of the book that were part written
Mm.
because they'd been carried over. Um, and I've this time round I've tended to do a bit more if something's come into my head, even if it's not in the sequence that I'm writing,
Yeah.
I'll kind of write it down.
Yes.
Now the
It's nice to go
downside
in
of
your
that,
short stories if you could
well,
do this and
indeed,
that.
indeed,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. The downside of that, as you know, is the book's written from the perspective of the protagonist. So each
Mm.
chapter swaps to a new protagonist.
Yeah.
The downside is that obviously sometimes I've kind of thought, oh no, I'll write this piece and I've written it from Ogner's perspective.
Yeah.
But then as the rest of the book catches up, I've got an Ogner followed, I only wrote from Ogner's perspective 2 chapters back kind of thing. So
Right.
that doesn't fit. So,
Yeah.
so that's been the downside. There is a little bit of sort of going back and re-editing and kind of rewriting chapters.
Yeah.
In some cases, it doesn't make any difference whose perspective we're writing from. And in others, it very clearly needs to come from a person because it is their feelings that you're trying to get
Sure.
across.
Sure.
So yeah,
But we
it's
all
definitely
we all
getting
learn.
there.
I'm still learning. All these books later, I'm still
Right.
learning. So we do, don't
Yeah.
we? I
Well,
was chatting with, I think it was either Lee or Janet yesterday, and we were talking about the about learning, and that surgeons have and I couldn't remember the name of the magazine, that the medical magazine that
Lancet,
surgeons.
the
Sorry,
Lancet,
Lancet.
the
That
Lancet.
I said that as an option, it just didn't feel right. Well, the first
Well,
one,
that's definitely one of the big ones, but it
right,
might not be.
yeah, the first version I came out with was a scalpel, and I knew it wasn't called the scalpel. Um, but yeah, and I said, surgeons, we all learn different, not necessarily techniques of writing, but if we change something, we think actually, yeah, that works. And I like to think that if I edit sort of 7 books of a person's series, that they're going to improve. They're going to think, well, actually, yes, Morgen said that in book 2, so I
There's
need to do
definitely
this.
been an experience of that. I
Yeah,
think the quality of writing first time round, so the going back and sort of looking back at what I've written previously, and oh my God, a lot of
yeah.
that seems to have gone. I am going back now and kind of going, no, it might not be right, but it's a lot closer to
Yeah.
what I've actually wanted to sort of come out.
Well, I think
So
this one there, Hitman Sam, was the first book I wrote. They're 2 novellas in one, um, and the one above it, after Jessica, I went back through that in 2023, and I'd sent it to a company that I don't think they exist anymore, or I think they may only do horror now, called Caffeine Nights, and they said they really liked it. They had it for ages, and he said I really couldn't decide, but I think it's been over edited. It's almost, it feels like you've gone through it so many times that but I am quite a tight writer. I don't, because I love dialogue, I don't put I don't put enough description in my books.
And you kind of
I
cut
just,
it back
I
and
tell
cut
the
it back
story and
right. Interesting.
so I am going to go back through them all, and put them back up as, revised.
But is there a point? Is there a point? Because my wife paints, and she should do more. She's very, very talented.
Right.
But one of the things that in painting is, when do you stop? It's a really important lesson in painting, that you can just keep going. You're forever. And as you say, you end up with a painting that doesn't look right because you've overdone it.
Exactly.
So I think there must be a similar point in the sort of writing process where because even now I can imagine some of the paragraphs and chapters from the first book in my head. I've reread it so many times over that sort of eight months of editing, that I'm still thinking I could have written that better. I could have written that better. There are changes that you want to make.
There's a little bit of feedback. I'm not sure whether you've got a phone near or something, or just when you're speaking. Don't worry, we're near the end. But it's like having a child and sending them off to university. You just have to send your book out, and especially we're not, because we're self-publishing, but you will find that there'll be people who go, I love this bit and not so sure about this bit, and especially if it's people who've read it that and can say that. And the great thing about self-publishing is that you can change things and go back.
There must be a rule that someone, where does you need a new ISBN?
Only if you change your book sufficiently enough so that the size changes.
Okay.
Change the cover, but say if you add another few chapters and have to change the size of the book, that's generally it.
That's generally the point.
Yeah, you can. Or you change the title, because once it's set, once the title is set, then they don't let you change it. You can change a subtitle.
No.
You won't let. Yes.
Okay. You change subtitle. You can't change the.
Yes.
Okay.
You can't change the title.
You can change the internal text pretty much as you like.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's
all. Good.
All right. I'm always here if you need me. I'll see you in April anyway. You'll be at our April thing.
I will. Yes, you will. You will.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And maybe do a Monday mini before then would be great.
I'd like that. Yeah, I'd like that.
Yeah, pick your date, time, and topic, whichever suits you best. That'd be lovely. Fantastic. And let me know, and I'll pop you a page on that.
Thank you.
Right.
Look forward to it.
You're welcome, and good luck with the other. Maybe.
Thank you very much.
55,000 of because I know it's about 100 and just over 100.
Yeah, I'm aiming for about 100. Yeah. So I've definitely got a fair bit to do still. So.
Brilliant. Okay.
Thanks ever so much, Morgan. It's been really interesting.
You're very welcome. We could carry on talking. I've got my next one's half past 7, and it's only 4 o'clock, so we could actually have another 3.5 hours. But I will have to eat at some point.
Exactly. Likewise.
Okay.
Good to talk to you.
Very much. Thanks. And you.
Cheers.
Bye.